Hi, everybody. My name is Ruham Manzoor, and I'm the managing partner of Mises. We're very happy to do come back to the shows again. Today, we actually have with us one of our very old partners. We've been in business since 2007, but in 2011, around that time, we were thinking we will expand to other markets. We started with UK. I don't know how many of you know this, but at NACES, we started with UK universities only. And in 2011, that's when I started looking at other destinations. And one of the very first destinations, actually, it wasn't even in my mind, but it kind of came on my lap. I got a visit from this university called Ritsumeikan Asia Pacific University in Beppu, Japan. I've never heard of Ritsumeikan. I've never heard of Beppu, and I was just interested to find out because they came through a reference from the British Council, from the director of British Council actually, and so I got to speaking, and I fell in love with the idea and what a great opportunity it was for students from Bangladesh. Now, since that, it's been 10 years, and I'm very happy to report we have now 5 university partners, and we have recruited, I think, more than 1,000 students, to Japan. At least close to 1,000 students to Japan. And our biggest partner, still, to this day, and our oldest partner remains APU. And today we have from APU, Mr. Vaughn Holgin. Did I say it correct, Vaughn?
It's Holguin, very close.
Holgin. Okay. We're going to get there. And Vaughn, is an admissions counselor or admissions officer at Ritsumeikan Asia Pacific University. So he comes with a wealth of knowledge about the university, how to apply and things like that. So Vaughn, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. It's a bit late at night here, but all is well.
I'm so happy, and thank you so much for making time. I know it is almost time to sleep, I guess, and you're here talking to our students. So thank you so much for that, because I think they'll benefit from it. Now, you're originally from the U.S., right?
Yeah, I'm originally from Los Angeles, actually.
Whoa, I love Los Angeles. Well, some parts. But what are you doing in Japan?
Well, it's kind of a long story, but I think Japan is kind of was a destined place for me. So I first had experience in Japan when I took a trip here after graduating university. And when I was walking through the streets of Kyoto, I thought to myself, I feel like I could live here. Um, and it was only a few years later when I actually had that opportunity to drop everything and move over to Japan and start living and working. And since then, I'm already in my 6th year here in Japan, and every day, something new comes up that is just reaffirming my choice to stay here.
That is so good to know. As I said, I've been working with APU for almost 10 years now. So I have a lot of students in APU, and when I see the kind of success that they're enjoying and the lifestyle they're leading, it's so great to see. I have students who are heading their own companies. I have students who are already in leadership positions in different Japanese companies. They're flying the Bangladeshi flag in Japan very high, and the kind of reputation that they have built. The strong reputation, a very strong sense of community. Everybody is helping each other. So when I send students, the previous students kind of help them, guide them about different application processes, further scholarships and things like that. So it is so refreshing to see. In fact, one of the things is when I send a student to a new partner, I send 1 or 2 students because I'm also not sure about the partner. And so one of the first in the first batch, I think I sent 2 or 3 students. When one of them, after 1 month of going there, said, I thank God for the day I met you. Otherwise, I wouldn't have had this opportunity. And that's something that sort of just stuck with me for all these years, because what a resounding endorsement, for a university. And since then, that kind of increased my confidence. And I've said that student actually went on to take leadership roles in APU, and then did very well for himself. His you know brothers, siblings, they went there. Three of my cousins I sent to APU as well to
Wow.
study, actually. I'm so much sold into that. So anyway, I'm gonna stop talking a second. But the way we want to do this is, I guess you're gonna show a presentation and a video, so we'll
Yeah.
get to that very quickly. And then once you're done with that, I'm sure our audience will have some questions. I see already some people are writing questions, so I'll read them out to you. Or Maisha, my colleague Maisha, who's also here. Actually, I forgot to add her to the stream. Will be asking the questions on behalf of us, and then you'll be answering them. So it will take around 35-40 minutes. So without any further ado, I'll give it to you. Do you want me to add the presentation first, or the video?
Let's start with the presentation.
Hey.
All right, guys. Ruham, thank you so much for the resounding introduction. It's been our pleasure here at APU to be working with Maces for such a long time. They're incredibly professional, and they always send us reliable students, and they're going to take good care of you guys if you choose to apply through them. So let's talk about APU a little bit. So the full name of the university is Ritsumeikan Asia Pacific University. We call ourselves APU for short. And our motto, if you can see down here, is shape your world. All right. So where are we located? We're actually not in any of the big cities in Japan that you may have heard of. We are in a small town, well, small by Japanese standards, a small town called Beppu in Japan's southernmost of the 4 large islands. And as you can see from that photo there, we're on top of a beautiful mountaintop overlooking the bay. So we're overlooking the bay to the north, and to the south we have a beautiful view of mountain ranges. I just want to show you a little bit of our campus there. Now the buildings all the way up in this top left corner here, those are AP House. That's where you're going to be living and studying, breathing your campus life for your first year. Then you have the gym, the convention hall, student union. These 2 big buildings in the front are the faculty and administrative buildings. I work in the left-hand one. And then on the right side, you have a bunch of classrooms and faculty buildings in the library. So Beppu is, like I said, it's quite a small Japanese town. Although when you look at the population, it may not feel that way, but that's just how it is here in Japan. It has about 120,000 residents, and it's a big tourist destination. In normal non-corona years, they usually get about, I think, 8 million visitors per year because of their hot springs. Beppu is famous for its hot springs. We have the largest amount of human-friendly hot springs in the world, second highest in the world, only beaten by Yellowstone, but you can't really bathe in Yellowstone's hot springs. There's a few locations around that you may have seen if you watch Japanese anime. Kimetsu no Yaiba features this shrine here in there. So let me break down some of APU's numbers a bit for you guys. Now, we are a really unique university in the realm of Japanese international universities. As you can see from here, we have about 1/2 of the whole student body is international. And we are special in that, a lot of other Japanese universities will have their domestic college and domestic campus where all the Japanese students go and study. And then they're going to have their international college and international campus, and they're completely separated out. They're just like little bubbles. But here at APU, there's only one student body. There's only one campus. There's only 2 colleges, which everybody takes the same courses in. So you're mingling with your Japanese counterparts from day one. And that's what gives you this strong international experience. So not only is half of the student body international, half of the faculty is also international. We have faculty from all over the world, from prestigious institutions and everything, currently representing 95 countries and regions around the world. And now let me give you an overview of our two undergraduate programs here. I'm assuming that most of you guys will be interested in undergrad, so I will talk very briefly about graduate only. So first we have the College of International Management. That's APM for short. And so this will give you a Bachelor's of Business Administration. And when you think back to our motto, Shape Your World, APM students are going to get the know-how of how they're going to put their skills into action to shape their world. APM is about how, what you're going to do directly to shape your dream of your future. So you're going to get all the tools that you need to start a business, work in the corporate world, work in NGO fields, and generally get this kind of management and economics education that you're going to need. And then on the other hand, we have the College of Asia Pacific Studies, which will give you a Bachelor of Social Science. And we call that APS for short. And so when you think back to our motto, APS students are really studying the why of Shape Your World. They're getting this, this 21st century liberal arts education, a really well-balanced, broad way of thinking about the world around them. And so we have the 4 concentrations as you see below there. And I think out of all of these, probably international relations and peace studies is the most popular upon application. And I just want to take a second to bring your attention to this little certification shield here. We are certified by the UN World Trade Organization for quality in tourism education. And back here in APM, you can see this other logo here. We are accredited by AACSB, which is an honor given only to the top 5% of business universities in the world. We are only the 3rd university in the entire country of Japan to receive this honor. So that's APU's undergraduate colleges. So you have the how here at APM and the why of shaping your world, okay? And now we do have graduate programs, and I'll go over them very quickly. Of course, we have a Master of Business Administration, AMBA accredited as well. And we have the Graduate School of Asia Pacific Studies, where you can take an MS or go all the way up to a Doctor of Philosophy and do a dual degree as well. So that's our academic programs. If you have any questions about academics, go ahead and shoot them into the comments below. We'll go ahead and answer questions that you have. And so now let's talk about language, because APU is not in Tokyo or Osaka or any of those big Japanese cities where you're likely to find a lot of English speakers. We're really in the countryside here. So part of our job is to equip you with the skills that you need to live your life in a small Japanese town where the residents don't really speak that much English. So we're going to get you up to this basic level of competency in Japanese. Of course, before you come here, you're not going to need any Japanese ability at all. But we're going to give you that intensive Japanese education in your first year so you can hit the ground running. And just like you're getting that intensive Japanese education, the Japanese domestic students are getting an intensive English education, so they're going to be able to communicate with you guys. And if you're interested in studying further languages after that, from your second year on, you can study any of those 6 Asia-Pacific languages over there. All right. So now let's talk about student life. I want to show you guys a video a bit later, but first I'll just talk at you guys. We have over 140, no, actually now it's over 150 exchange programs. That's a bit of an old number there, all around the world. Tons of internships, field studies, business case competitions, environmental projects, Model UN, you name it, we have it. A really great aspect of APU student life is the multicultural weeks, where basically, you celebrate a single culture for a whole week, get all sorts of cuisine and arts and all of this stuff, and it kind of culminates with a big performance at the very end. So if you guys come down, please put in some effort into making a Bangladesh Cultural Week. That would be awesome. There's over 110 student clubs in anything you can imagine. There's a really big cricket club actually as well, if you guys like to play cricket. And if there isn't something that you're interested in, it's very easy to start up a new club. You just need yourself, a few members of your executive committee, and bring it to the student office, and you're done. All right. And you remember earlier I mentioned AP House. So you are guaranteed a place in AP House for your first year. So you're going to have a gentle introduction to life in Japan. You're going to be amongst your peers, and you're going to have kind of this safe environment to get used to living in a foreign country. All right. So so your rent for AP House includes all of your utilities, AC, air conditioning, Wi-Fi, water, electricity, all that stuff is included. There are both single and shared rooms. And the cool thing about the shared rooms is that you're always going to be paired one international student with one domestic student. So from the day you move in, you're immediately breaking boundaries and making new friendships. After your first year, a lot of students will choose to move down into the city so that they can save some money and live with their friends, you know. All right, life in downtown Beppu. You know, I am a huge fan of the onsen, which is the hot springs that we talked about earlier. So I could talk to you guys forever about hot springs. You can see up in the corner, these people have their hot springs goods. They're walking. They probably just came from the hot spring. Japan has some of the most beautiful fireworks displays I've ever seen in my life. All throughout the summertime, they're shooting them off here and there and everywhere. You can travel around very cheaply. Students get a very, very discounted all Japan rail pass. You can take the train anywhere across the country for a really low price. Of course, you can do part-time work, which I know you guys are very interested in. And you can even homestay with Japanese families. So another thing that makes APU incredibly competitive is the way that we prepare you guys for your life after APU. All right, we have an incredibly high job placement rate because of the model UN that you're living in. APU is just like a United Nations, you know. You're going to have an incredible amount of cultural intelligence. You're going to have insane Japanese skills, and you're going to have a uniquely global perspective once you leave APU. You're going to work for world famous companies like Mitsubishi, Bandai Namco, Toyota, Hilton, Google, whatever. There's tons of companies that are going to want to headhunt you directly from APU's campus. Every year we get between 300 and 400 companies and organizations coming all the way out to Beppu to headhunt APU graduates for their company. All right. And if you want to go on and further your education, you can study at some of the most prestigious graduate schools in the world, including Oxford, University of Tokyo, ANU, Harvard Business School, you name it. And of course, we have tons of scholarships available for you guys. We have a tuition reduction scholarship to make your tuition that much more affordable, ranging from 30% of your tuition all the way to 100%. This will reduce your tuition. If you have 100% tuition reduction, you're going to pay 0 yen in tuition, okay? And it's so easy to apply for. All you do is tick a little box on your application form, and you're applied. You can also get a bunch of external scholarships once you have a bit of Japanese ability. A lot of times you're going to have to write your application in Japanese or do an interview for the scholarship in Japanese. So that's another incentive to improve your Japanese language skills. All right. And talking about tuition fees, for undergraduate, your first year of tuition is 1.3 million Japanese yen. Second to fourth year is 1.5. Graduate school, this is both years of your study. So that's the whole program cost, 2.8 and 3.8 million respectively. All right. And now what kind of basic requirements do you need to fulfill in order to apply to APU? First, you need to have finished your 12 years of standard education. That would be either all the way through HSC, or have done an A level or International Baccalaureate or something like that. And you have to prove that you are able to understand English to a minimum level, like by taking one of these tests or by having done your education completely in English. Okay? And now how do we apply? So our application process is all done online, okay? You just log in on our website, upload all your documents by PDFs or scans, do an online assessment, pay your application fee, and you're done. If you pass stage 1, you do an online interview with an admissions counselor such as myself, and that's it. Then you get your results. Let me tell you briefly about your dates and deadlines. We're currently in our intake for April of 2022. We have a few rolling deadlines coming up. The next deadline is the 22nd of September, okay? And for the final intake of April, that deadline is going to be in mid-October, okay? Then after that, you're going to have enrollment for fall of 2022 if you want to do that. Go ahead and hit that QR code if you want to get a head start on things. All right? So we've been doing a lot of stuff for COVID-19 as well. I know you guys are kind of worried. We have been welcoming students into APU concurrently throughout the course of the pandemic. We've been helping them with their quarantine. Well, we have covered their hotel stay for quarantine, and we've been doing partially online and partially in-person classes recently, and making sure that we're being really careful with social distancing, disinfection, temperature checks, all of that good stuff. Okay. Check our main website for the most up-to-date information on COVID-19. All right. And also, please check out our social media. A lot of this content is created by students of APS. It's so professional. You wouldn't believe it's been made by students. It's so great. All right, guys, so that's it for my presentation. After this, I'd like to show you a short video of the kind of student life in the campus. You can go ahead and hit our inquiry form if you want to ask a question, or check our website for documents and data. Okay. I know I just talked a ton at you guys. So let me go ahead and stop, take this away and show you guys that video, and then we can move on into questions, huh?
All right. While we're getting that video up and running, I just wanted to let you know, for applications to APU, we have a really, really good experienced team on board to help you with the applications. So what you need to do is, get those documents ready, your academic documents, your essays, your English, or just get in touch with us. We will give you what you need to do, and then you can prepare them. We have somebody on staff who can help make your essays better. You send us your essays. We have somebody like your elder brother or sister check your essays, make them a little bit better, and then submit. And obviously we've been doing this for quite some time with a lot of good amount of success. So please do get in touch with us on that front. And I'm gonna let you stream the video.
All right, here goes, guys. Enjoy.
Oh, sorry. Let me do that, Vaughn. I think what happened is there is a share audio thing which needed to be done when you were sharing something. I'll just do it from my side. Okay. Here we go. Oh God, what's going on here? Sorry. Sorry. These things always happen. Do you want to re-share your...
Let's see if I can do it this time. All right, hold on 1 second, and I'll go ahead and put that back there. All right. Share screen.
Did you click on the share audio button at the bottom? Like when you do the share screen, there's a little a box which says share audio.
I don't see that box. Uh-oh.
No problem. Okay, okay, all right.
Ah,
Yeah, got it.
I think so. Let's see if can you hear it?
Let's see. No,
How's that?
unfortunately, no, unfortunately not.
Uh-oh.
Okay. We did go through this in the beginning. I usually always. I mean, I really. You cannot say that we had a good presentation until we actually went through some of these glitches, right? So
Well,
let me just
technology always gets us somehow.
yeah. I mean this is the way it is. Anyway, I think we have got it. Let me okay. Okay.
Sometimes you must travel far to where the spark of new possibilities lies right before your eyes. There is a place you can see things you've never seen before, where the energy of those around you is inspiring and boundless. And so you join in, working harder, reaching higher, dreaming bigger than you ever thought you could. Because this is your time. This is your chance to seek out your own destiny.
That was a beautiful video. Actually, I was lucky enough to see some of those fireworks during my trip to APU as well, and interacting with students and everything. Um, Juan, thank you so much for a great presentation. Before we get to the
My pleasure.
questions, I just wanted to summarize a little bit. So, with regards to APU, if you want to study, I mean, I know a lot of Bangladeshi students are looking at Canada and US and UK and all that, and that's fine because we know English and those are English-speaking countries, so it makes sense. However, what I would highly recommend is at least have an alternative. Japanese, if you study in Japan, it really offers a lot of fantastic opportunities for Bangladeshi students. And I'll tell you why. First of all, if you look at the tuition fees in general, um, APU's tuition fees are um, anywhere between, it's about 1 million, which is 10 lakh taka per year. I'm talking about taka one, not taka,
Right.
yen, just so that you're not confused. if you look at US or Canada or whatever, you're looking at a minimum of $20,000 to $30,000. Now, the second thing is nobody pays that 1 million because everybody who's in, or at least 99%, gets some kind of a scholarship ranging from 20% to 100%. So if you get a 65 or 80% scholarship, then you're pretty much paying the same amount that you do in a local Bangladeshi university. Having said that, it comes with some great benefits in your second year, third year. You can apply for those external scholarships, which pays for your living expenses. Once you graduate, as Vaughn said, there's a lot of jobs. I mean, the companies come on campus to recruit, and our record shows each of our students get anywhere between 3 to 5 job offers before they graduate, and that is crazy. To get your job, what job you're joining before you even graduate is amazing. So that's one thing. And then, the final thing is your the starting salary you get when you start those jobs is one of the highest in the world as well. So, there are so many benefits, and you can apply for permanent residency and all of that. So just like Canada, because a lot of people apply to Canada because of those, getting permanent residency in Japan is not a problem. It's really easy. All you need is a job, and they're waiting to give you a job. Japanese companies need young people who understand their culture, who understand their language to come in. And Bangladeshi students who have studied in Japan can definitely meet that requirement. And so this is an amazing opportunity. I hope you will take advantage. I mean, we have a lot of questions. Maisha, I'm going to get you to perhaps do some of those questions.
Thank you so much, Ruham bhai. Vaughn, let's get to the questions. I can see that there's been quite a few. You may have answered a few of these already, but let's start with the first one. Comes from Shadab, and he says, hello, good evening. I've got 2 questions. What are the minimum requirements for HSC and SSC or O-level, A-level backgrounds? And if you could also talk about the scholarship opportunities, which you obviously shared. You want to take that one?
Certainly. So let me first start off by saying that in general, SSC and O-level scores are not so important to us. We do, and we don't have minimum requirements per se. In general, we look at the application in a very, very holistic way. But please do submit your HSC scores in full. And if you have, if you're in the A-level curriculum, try to submit 3 or more A-levels if possible. Even if, for example, you have, like maybe an A and an A star and a C, that still should show us that C. Even if you might not feel like it's so great, we want to see your performance as comprehensively as we possibly can. So don't get too hung up on the actual grades and your actual scores, because we look at so much more than just your scores. And it looks like I talked about scholarship opportunities. However, if you're interested in MBA programs, it would be really beneficial to you to continue on to do an MBA at APU, because you can also get a tuition reduction scholarship at the graduate level. All right.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that. Let's move on to the most favorite question that we always get, which is scholarships. It seems like, the popular question. So what are really the criteria of receiving scholarships, and how do you decide what percentage, the students get?
Wonderful. I like to hear this question a lot because, again, there's not one specific area we look at. We really look at the whole package. So there's a spot in your application for talking about your interests, extracurricular activities you may have done, awards you may have received, Maybe you're really passionate about, I don't know, knitting, just for an example. It's, it's kind of an absurd example, but we're going to give a little bit of weight if you can show us your passions and how you're kind of a little bit different from everyone else. So of course your academic scores do factor in, but probably not as much as you think they would. We're looking at what you're doing outside of school. We're looking at your experiences. We're really listening to what you're saying to us during your interview. By the way, that means don't waste your time in the interview. Prepare for it and try to really talk about stuff that, we wouldn't be able to hear otherwise. Because every single part of your application factors into your scholarship percentage. All right.
Fantastic. So would it be right to say that you're looking for the personality of the student and just in total what the student imbibes as a personality as well?
Well, I think you can tell just from hearing our presentation and seeing the video that APU is not a university for everyone, right? We have 2 colleges and we're really focused in on what we're teaching, and we're focused in on the benefits that we offer. So, if you want to study dentistry, then, that's not, APU is not the place for you. And we know that, and you should know that too. But if, for example, if you're really passionate about making these international connections, or you have an interest in Japan, that's going to be a big benefit, because that means that APU is going to be a fit for you, and we're going to see that.
Perfect. Thank you so much for answering that. I guess this is a bit of a continuation of that previous question. So, you did mention that academics is not the only thing that you take into consideration, but, in case of that, does it make a difference, from an HSC, SSC results, better scholarship if it's a better result?
All right. So like I mentioned earlier, we really don't look at SSC too closely. However, if everything else is the same between 2 applicants and one applicant has a significantly higher HSC result than the other, of course that's going to factor in. But for example, if you have perfect HSCs, but all you want to do is come to university, get your degree, and go home, you may not get such a great scholarship, because that's not the kind of student we're looking for. We're looking for students who really want to take advantage of the opportunities we're giving them here in Japan. They had to have a student life, to get into the community, to find new interests.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that. So let's move on to some accommodation questions. Same from Shadabo also asks, could you kindly talk about the rent, housing, and the cost of living, say, in Beppu?
Certainly. AP house rent is 49,000 Japanese yen per month, which is all inclusive. And the general cost of living, now I take issue a bit with the figures that we put out. The figure that we officially say is 1 million Japanese yen per year is your general cost of living. I find that to be an extremely high estimate. I personally probably don't even get that high. And I'm an adult, living and working, and I have a car and I have all these expenses. So I think, a more realistic expense, especially for students, would probably be somewhere in the range of 700,000 or 800,000 Japanese yen per year. And of course, once students move off campus, they can get a drastically lower rent, especially if they're sharing rent with other people. If you're living in a share house or a big apartment between like 2 or 3 of your friends, you might even see rent costs in the 20,000 yen range.
Okay.
So
great, thank you. So just an additional question to that. So for freshman students, is it necessary for them to stay at the APU house?
Yes, it absolutely is, because yes, it is mandatory to stay on AP house unless you have family in Beppu. If you have family in Beppu, you can apply for special dispensation to live with your family, but you also can't live alone. And we do this because Japan is a new country to you guys. There are a lot of kind of social norms and rules about living that you won't be acclimated to yet. In addition, you're going to be in a foreign country where you don't speak the language. We want to make sure that you're safe. So we're going to get you to the point where you know the rules and regulations, and you can speak enough Japanese to be able to live on your own without anything bad or untoward happening.
Absolutely. So you're looking out for those students there. So let's move on to some questions after graduation. So you talked about the APM and APS sort of courses. What sort of jobs do they usually go for after graduation?
Right. So here's, I think, where Japan really diverges from other countries in their hiring practices. If you're planning to stay in Japan and make a career, basically it almost doesn't matter what you study in university, because most Japanese corporations have incredible on-the-job training programs. For example, in North America, like in the US and Canada, if you want to get into a field, you're going to study a specialist kind of major. Like if you want to get into, data science, you're going to study that stuff. However, in Japan, companies hire generalists and train them for the specialist position. So basically, you're not limited in the industry, no matter if you've studied tourism and hospitality and you end up not applying for jobs like that, you could find yourself working, for Bandai Namco, the anime producer, for example. You could be working for Komatsu, the construction machine builder. It's really interesting how broad the opportunities are if you want to continue your career in Japan.
I just want to add here, like I have had a student who studied accounting and finance, who ended up in a structural engineering position, and he's heading an engineering factory right now. So a full-on structural engineering position. I have had a student who studied innovation and economics, whose job is to do programming. He's a software developer now, working in a company. And they train you for the first 6 months. They train you programming and all of that before he was allowed to start doing. So it is so interesting. By the way, I just wanted to give a shout out to our old student, Newly. Newly is watching, I guess, and he's made a comment. So Newly, if you're there, do give a thumbs up and tell us how you're doing and what you're doing. I think that would be great. So anyway, sorry, I just wanted to add to that. I mean, it is really amazing because this is something that you can, like in Canada, in US, you have people advertising for jobs with the skill set that is needed for those jobs. In Japan, it's so widely different. You can be a generalist, and then as Vaughn said, that's all I wanted to add for now.
Great.
Right on.
I guess the additional question to that, the reason why so many students choose Canada, Australia, and countries like that is the immigration policies they might have after they complete their graduation. So, what are the immigration policies say after graduation in Japan?
Okay, I think this is probably something on many people's minds, so I'm glad that it was brought up. In Japan, if you are an alien, you need to get a work visa, right? So during your studies, you're on a student visa, and you can't stay in Japan on a student visa if you're not studying. So that's why you need to start work if you're going to plan on staying in Japan. So what you will do is once you get hired by whoever ends up hiring you after graduation, you'll be applying for a work visa in the field that company is in, and they're going to be your guarantor. They're going to provide some documents about the company, about your salary, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So basically, and actually it's the same for me as well. APU is the guarantor of my work visa, since I'm an employee of APU. And once you've been in Japan and continually employed for 10 years, then you can apply for permanent residency, which basically means that you don't have to be under constant employ to have a visa status. Basically, that means you don't need a visa anymore if you have permanent residency. So there are some checks that you have to go through in order to attain permanent residency, and it's quite far in the future. You know, if you graduate at 21, you're going to be 31 before you can, get that one. But it's definitely a course that many people do take. There's a really strong international community here in Beppu because of the university, and there's families popping up.
Fantastic. That's great to hear. Vaughn, in that case, also do want to ask, so does APU provide students with advice and support to find jobs from the university? Is that a service that APU provides?
Okay, so as far as part-time work goes, there's not a ton of resources outside of APU. Now, APU offers part-time jobs, and they're very, very in demand because it's on campus. So you're not going to have to go down to the city for your part-time work. So that's going to be on the job board on Campus Terminal, our student portal. And sometimes companies will also advertise their part-time positions on Campus Terminal as well. But more often, there will be student groups, like on Facebook, for example, or WhatsApp, where you'll get these kind of part-time, notices and stuff like that. But of course, if you're not talking about part-time work, but employment after graduation, of course, our career office goes 100% on support for that. You get a career aptitude kind of survey. You're going to get some suggestions of fields to look at. You're going to get some resume writing help. You're going to get some interview prep. So we really go all out to help our students in after graduation employment.
All right, thank you so much for that. And I think this would be a very popular question as well for our students right now. When can we expect for the border to open for international students?
Well, really, I hate to say this, but really your guess is as good as mine. We must follow the Ministry of Foreign Affairs rules. So, I can't really tell you one thing or another because I know exactly what's on their website. And that's, the last time it was updated was August 16th. So they'll probably update again soon. We have some hope that once the Paralympics buzz has died down a bit, they'll start relaxing border restrictions. And of course, we have been shepherding APU new enrollees through the quarantine process continually, just not in the amount that we'd like to. So I'm sorry, but I can't give you any definite answer. And if I did, it wouldn't be true because nobody has that information. And if somebody says they do have the information, they're lying to you.
I think everyone's curious, when can they fly? And, we are too, and we're crossing our fingers so that, they can travel and enjoy all that.
Really crossing fingers, and it's not an ideal situation to be in anywhere. Nobody wants to be in this pandemic, but we got to work together and, lower our cases.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for answering those questions. If there's any other questions that we haven't addressed, one of us will definitely get back to you and we'll answer all of those questions. Ruhambai, if you want to wrap this up.
Yeah, thank you so much, Vaughn, for coming in. And those of you who listened in, I think you got a very comprehensive. Sorry, it's morning in Canada here, and the light is directly streaming, so I have to hide myself from the light. So thank you so much for listening in. Again, one of my favorite countries in the world is Japan. If anybody has seen me doing presentations, you can pretty much tell I've gone to every single school in Bangladesh, and we've done a lot to promote APU. Now, What I would like you to do is, if you've listened in, you have any questions that are not answered, which is very difficult. I mean, I think we've answered for most of them. Please get in touch with our offices. Our email address is mail@macb.com. If you're on Facebook or YouTube, you can send us comments or questions through our Facebook page. You can call us at 017-5566-0012, and we'll be able to help you with the application. Before we wrap up, though, and do the final sign off, I would like to share one video for a a student of ours. This is from a couple of years ago, but he's Samin. So just wanted to show you something from him.
In my case, if you look at a person's skill development, it actually opened not only the outside opportunities, but as well as what I can do personally myself. It developed me from small things like time management, taking responsibilities, doing things done, being presentable wherever you're going. So that things makes me a better human than before. So your world is your dominion of what are you doing and what is your life right now. And it makes your life one step ahead whatever you had before. Now I have reached that if I just look into my phone, I can contact persons more than 60 countries. It really is like that. So that's the thing. It broadens your horizon not only as a person who you are inside, but it actually makes you a global personality in front of all the countries that there is.
And the reason
so cool,
I
love
that video is that was in 2017, and he was in the day we spoke to him. That was his class had just started, right? So he has been in Japan for literally, I think, a week or something like that. Now he is graduated, and he's graduated, and he just sent me a huge message. It has been a superb journey over the last 2 years. I graduated in March. He did so many internships. He did internships at Sony, Fujitsu. He has actually joined a management consulting firm, and they're doing a project with Toyota and Honda in the automotive industry. And he wanted to personally thank you for APU and for shaping. I mean, those are the things that make me want to promote Japan and promote APU in general, because we've seen such incredible developments. And Samin, if you're listening, I'm so proud of you. You've been such a great inspiration for many of us. Samin's elder brother actually is also a graduate of APU. He's done very well for himself as well. So this is why, these are some of the things that you can look forward to when you join APU. I think we have said enough. Usually our sessions are about 30, 35 minutes. We have gone on to almost a year, hour.
And in conclusion, Roham, I want to extend my thanks to you guys for your constant assistance to the students. You have incredibly professional counselors always helping out the students. It makes our job as admissions officers so much easier too. And I think the students will really be in good hands when they're applying with you guys.
So thank you so much, Vaughn, and thank you so much to everybody who listened in. And thank you so much for your patience. And hope to see you again soon. Our next show is on, I think, the 6th of September, right, Maisha?
Correct.
So we will see you then. Until then.